Hey everybody, if you like watching Frostgrave battles, this video will be setting the stage for the battle videos coming with my Frostgrave 2nd edition campaign. Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, the channel that plays tabletop games using toy bricks and blocks and discusses the rules and strategies that build the foundation for those games. Be sure to check the description box below where you'll find timestamps for this video as well as links to some of our other Frostgrave content. I've been looking forward for quite a while now to recording some 2nd edition playthroughs, so I'm excited that I will finally be starting a new campaign. In this video I will be discussing what I'll be playing, why I play Frostgrave by myself, how playing with bricks and blocks changes my gameplay, the official optional rules that I'll be using, any house rules I've decided to use, how I've created my wizards and the warbands, and some other things about the way that I will be filming. So let's get to the bricks and blocks of my 2nd edition campaign. For starters, I've created 4 warbands to give variety to the battles and simulate playing in a small gaming group, even though I'll be controlling all the warbands myself. My goal is to play through the 10 new scenarios for the 2nd edition, then head over to some of the supplemental material. There's a few reasons I play this head-to-head game by myself. The first reason is location. My former co-host Jeff is my only buddy that plays Frostgrave, and he lives in another town. And the nearest friendly local game store is 15 miles away, and they don't seem to be familiar with Frostgrave. Also, I'm a busy dad and husband, and I'm active in my local community. So most of my hobby time is after my kids are in bed, which isn't a convenient time to have friends over or go out to a game shop. Another reason I game solo is so that when people watch these videos, they might also consider playing Frostgrave this way, especially with social distancing and lockdown regulations going on around the world. Since I play using bricks and blocks, there's a few things about my gameplay that I do a little different, which I've explained in some of my other videos. LEGO minifigures are larger than the recommended 28mm miniatures, so the scale is a little different. Because of this, instead of using inches, I use 4 brick pegs to equal 1 movement unit. Which means that even though my board is a 40-inch by 40-inch table, it's actually just equivalent to a 32 by 32-inch table. So it's a little under the 36-inch by 36-inch recommended board size. And since my game room here is only 9 feet by 9 feet, it's a little difficult to fit anything larger into my play space. For the optional rules that are found in the 2nd edition book, I plan to use all of them for my campaign. Critical hits add risk and randomness that adds great tension to the game. The wounded option is something I've actually never used before, so I'm a little worried I'll forget about it during a game, or that it might get hard to track while controlling 2 warbands. If I end up forgetting it a lot, I might stop using it. I really like the black market contacts option because I think it adds worth to the random things you find rather than just purchasing exactly what you want. Random encounters can add fun surprises, and I like that monsters now show up on a 10+ instead of a 16+ like in the 1st edition. The options for the Transcendent spell and balancing scenarios are really for later in a campaign, and their use will depend on whether I keep the same warbands or switch them up as I go through the supplements. Besides what I've mentioned earlier in the video, I have no other house rules planned. Because the 2nd edition is still relatively new, I want my videos to be an accurate representation of how the game is intended to be played. I will, however, be using any current FAQ documents, as well as any official rulings that the author gives on various online sites like the Frostgrave Facebook page. Because my intentions are to show an accurate interpretation of the rules and gameplay, I encourage viewers to nicely let me know if I get a rule wrong, or ask questions about any rules you're curious about in the comment section of the battle videos. For the creation of my wizards for my 1st edition campaign, I used a randomized draft to determine which spells each wizard had access to. This time around, I'm being a little more traditional by just choosing the spells that I want. I am intentionally using some of the new or some of the changed spells the 2nd edition has given us, along with some spells I haven't used often. And I tried not to have too many repeat spells between wizards. One of my warbands is a thematic build, and I'll be introducing it in a video about Thematic, Wizard, and Warband Creation, which will be linked in the description once it's released. With soldiers, I do plan on incorporating some of the additional soldier types found in the supplemental books, and each of the 4 warbands will have their own goals and playstyles to further simulate multiple people playing in the same campaign. In my previous battle videos, I've included a lot of story elements, strategy discussion, and other content that's not related to the battle itself. For this campaign though, I plan to keep the videos focused on the action and let the battles speak for themselves. I'll probably just introduce the warbands, explain the rules for the current scenario, and get to the battle. Then I'll give a brief summary explaining after-game activities. I also plan to have the current spell and soldier lists in the video description if viewers want to check on current casting numbers or magical items. Also, I find that holding a camera, a measuring device, and a minifigure, especially while trying to click my figures into the brick terrain, gets awkward. So I'll be making almost all of my measurements off camera. I'll try to play most of my games from the same edge of the table to help viewers stay oriented with what part of the table they're seeing. And since I like to see dice results in videos, I will do my best to always show those. So next up will be the orb scenario. This is the 11th scenario found in the core book, but the first completely new one for the 2nd edition. And that video will be linked in the description once it's released. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click like, add a comment, or subscribe so you can keep up with all the content that I'm releasing. And with that, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and I'll see you on the next video.